How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a review. That's right, so today we're going to be reviewing Series 13's final chapter. This one is titled The Vanquishers, and let's get into what I thought was good, what I thought was bad, give it a rating, and let's see how I feel about the series overall. So this week we're going to start off with the bad points because there's less of these at the minute. Well, there's about the same amount, but it's in less detail. So the first thing that I didn't like was the opening. It was absolutely boring. It was terrible. I mean, the cliffhanger last week, we all knew the Doctor was going to survive, and literally all she did was step back out of Swarm's reach. So it was kind of pointless for the cliffhanger last week. It was just stupid. Like, we all knew she had these super speed abilities, so it could have been cool to see her use this super speed again, but she just simply took a step back, and it was quite boring overall, in my opinion. Second thing which I found bad or boring, or however you want to put it, was Kate Stewart. Now, yes, Kate Stewart was back. I'm glad that she was back. Yes, she was the leader of the Human Resistance. I'm happy about that. But that was it. Her appearance was so quick, it was a blink and you'll miss it type of appearance. And the Human Resistance, the poor guy who was referenced and was shown on the Sontaran ship and died, I mean, I didn't really care because it wasn't touched up on. I mean, what was the Human Resistance? It wasn't really explained a lot. So that was quite of a boring thing and negative in my opinion. Like, yes, it's amazing to see Kate Stewart back, but she did nothing in this episode, and I didn't really enjoy her not doing anything. Third thing, what was the point of the Grand Serpent? Let's be honest. I mean, the only reason I can think of him being there was for Vinder to get him to go through the doors, to get his own back, basically, to get his revenge. But other than that, it just felt like time wasting. I mean, he had such a little impact on the overall of the Flux. I mean, yeah, it was fun to see him basically be the end of unit, and that was really it. I mean, he did nothing important at all in it. It just feels like, even though that the series was shorter than normal, that we were still getting robbed by him being in it. I mean, the acting was amazing. I love the acting, but the writing of him, it was just so unimportant and little. I mean, he had so much screen time in the last two episodes to play such a minute part. I really feel robbed being as he was in it. Another thing, Time being the villain and Swarm and Azula basically not doing much. Like, at the beginning they were amazing, they were such an intense villain. Then it just dropped off all of a sudden, and they were just there for like convenient plot points and things like that, to be like, oh, we're the Ravagers and this is what the massive guy does, Passenger, this is what Passenger does, and oh, you want to know about your past? Well, we know about your past, we can do contact and all things like that. And it was, yeah, kind of boring and pointless. I mean, Time being the villain, I mean, that was just stupid on my behalf. Like, I think it was stupid. The Lupari genocide, this is the last bad thing. I mean, we had series upon series of the Doctor being the last of his kind after basically the genocide of his race. And then when it comes to Karvanista, with the Lupari genocide, it's just like, yeah, you'll all have gone, mate, so that's the end of that. I hope you deal with that, alright. Let's carry on with the mission, though, yeah, and get you on the TARDIS after that. But no consideration for him. I mean, I loved the character of the Karvanista. I loved the Lupari. I think that's one of the best things to come out of Flux, if I'm personally honest. But not giving him the time to grieve or anything on screen. Yes, once again, it's shorter. But if we hadn't had the Grand Serpent, we would have been able to have that emotional connection to the Karvanista. Well, to Karvanista, sorry. It just makes sense to give Karvanista the time to grieve and build that emotional connection with him, being as you've already got the comedic side of him and you find him funny, and he was such a big part for it the whole series. I mean, he was the first villain that we saw, even though him not being a villain. He was protecting Dan against the Sontarans in the Angel stories, he didn't really do much, but he was there helping Belle out and bringing basically her to safety. Then he was defeating the Centaurans again on his own. It's just, he was a big part of the series in my opinion, and they disrespected the character and didn't give him the time to grieve. So that's enough of the bad points. Let's move on to the good points. All the loose plot points came together. Like, I love that, and it was mostly in the TARDIS. I mean, you got Belle and Vinda reuniting in the TARDIS, Dan reunited with, I can't remember her name in the TARDIS, Claire coming back with in the TARDIS. It just made sense. Everything majorly happened in the TARDIS, well, mostly happened in the TARDIS, and I did like that. And the plot points coming together, it's what we needed. So we haven't got anything kind of just left there like, well, that was never touched upon. I like that. But another thing which I did like is that there was that many plot points that didn't all finish. So like, they all came together, but they didn't finish. So to me, that means in the specials that we've got coming up, that this isn't the end of the story of the Flux, and some things are going to get touched upon a bit more, and it will be a bit more fun. Third point, I feel like it was an historical. The last episode, well, bits of the last episode was a bit of like an historical, which I was happy to see with Joseph Williamson. They did exactly what they did with Tesla. They gave a science fiction explanation of a real thing. So basically the tunnels, they were dug for no apparent reason, and he was quite an eccentric character in real life. This is the tunnels dug for no reason. He commissioned it and there was no point to it really as people saw it. And the sci-fi explanation of it was amazing. Same as with Tesla in that episode, where the night that he disappeared, the lights above and no one explained it, and then in Doctor Who it was explained that he was being taken by aliens. I do like that, and I've got to commemorate Chibnall for that. He's something amazing, and I do like what he did there. Another good thing was the way the Centaurans tried to defeat the Flux. They basically invited the Daleks, the Cybermen, all of them there for trickery, saying, oh, we've got a plan, we'll all come together, we'll all be friendly. Then using the Lupari ships to shield themselves basically and protect themselves while everyone else got wiped out. I love that, but obviously the Lupari ship, one of them flew away, and I think all of them left in the end. So even though it's a good thing that the strategic plan was amazing, now we're left with no Daleks, no Cybermen, and non-Sontarans. So it feels very empty out there in that universe we have left now, because obviously we don't know if the whole of the universe was saved or not yet, and that's one thing I really do like as well. But most of these villains, the big three villains for Doctor Who in my opinion, they are no longer there, and that's quite an interesting thing. Hopefully we're going to get a reset either in the next episode, which is coming out on New Year's Day, or one of the specials later on down the road, because we've got the Cybermen, we got the Daleks back in the next episode. So, well, the special. So there's got to be a reset button somewhere along the lines there. And the main thing, which I'm extremely happy that Chibnall did not do, he didn't open the fob watch. Now I know he's got 4 more specials where he could open the fob watch, but I love the fact he didn't open it. So we have got the idea of this Doctor where before her mind was wiped, that they can actually look into, and it has been touched upon in the Flux, but they've decided not to. They've decided to keep it. Now I think we will see the fob watch again, and I think we'll see it again on Chibnall, and it will be opened. I think we might even see it again under Russell T Davies, if I'm completely honest. But I'm glad that it hasn't been opened yet, and it leaves a bit of suspense. And was the Timeless Child real, or are they just doing it to play with the Doctor? It leaves that open, and I do like it. Now I stood here last week and basically said, this episode is either going to save or break Doctor Who. It's going to save Series 13. No, it's going to save Series 12 or destroy Series 13. I think it did both. I think it saved Series 12 because we've still got the openness that was left there. But it also didn't destroy Series 13 because, yeah, a lot happened, but it worked its way around to making it good. if that makes any sense. And I did like it, but overall I'm going to give this episode rating a 5 out of 10. Now I know it sounds a bit strange for me to say that, but there is a lot to do in this episode, but not enough time, and I felt robbed in parts. Like, yes, I'm happy that not all the plot points were closed. Yes, I'm happy that most people came together, but the Corvinista not being able to mourn the Lupari, Time being the villain and Storm Azula basically not doing anything after it, and the Grand Serpent doing so little out of all of it, to me, it just didn't feel like an amazing finale. Like, the first episode felt more like a finale than the actual finale, in my opinion. So that's why I'm putting it very middle range, because it's like, yeah, it was good, but it just felt meh to me. Like, it's just like, yeah, it's an episode, it's new, it's exciting because it's a new episode of Doctor Who, but I don't really care much about it after the second or the third watch. I mean, I had to force myself to watch it a third time after the second watch because it was that much like, okay, I don't really care now. So that is it for this week's episode. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week for some more Doctor Who content.